Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today to for our second work session. We've been doing this in order to help people navigate their positioning strategies and their marketing in general, but also not. Let's change. Sorry. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're here today in our work session named From Founder Voice to Market Trust. I'm joined here, of course, by my partner, Gabriela Pulido.
Great to see you again, Ale. I'm looking forward for this
Hello.
session.
Yes. So this is something that we work on every day, and we want to help give you some tools and some ideas on how to become an authority in your market. That's the idea here. We're going to break it down into specific actions you can take to be a leader in your industry. So let's dive in. What will we cover today? We will cover first, why is it important that you become a thought leader? Why the market is going to read your leadership before talking to you or your sales team. Then we're going to go into a checklist that we build to say and to review whether you have executive trust and to help you go over those signals and decide where your weakest point is. Then we'll give you a self audit to find your weakest signal in 10 minutes and give you some ideas on what to do next. So, why are we
Yes.
talking about this?
So in this
Gabby.
at this point, this is a hard truth. Where we're starting for. So where we're starting from. So traction is no longer enough, like we're saying, and fintechs and wealth tech and wealth management, and the market forms an opinion about you long before your sales team enters the room. So that idea of what's the image that you're generating, what's the perception that you're generating, is it's pretty important from the onset. It's much
Exactly.
more,
So,
it's much more than personal branding. It's more, how do you control the narrative? How do you show up? And it's about the signals that versus all the noise that's out there. The signal that you're portraying, that you're giving out to the market, is really important before the first call.
exactly. So, why is someone going to open the door to you? Today, we're all bombarded by hundreds of messages and advertising, and the amount of exposure we have to different brands keeps climbing. So, why is someone going to listen to you? So, growth is good, but it's not longer enough. Um, in financial services, we see that in general, what do you have? You have clients or investors, you have partners, and you have enterprise buyers, right? In the space that we work in is B2B. So this is the most common stakeholders that we need to influence. Um, but all of them will have a question to open the door to you. So the investors will ask, okay, is this leader, is this person that is looking for my attention, can I trust them to provide a profit if I'm going to invest in your company? So if you're fundraising, you have to be able to convince them that you're capable enough to at least have a conversation with them, right? Before you even start the meeting.
And we've seen this not only in fintechs or financial services. We see the entrepreneurs. We see that. Do you see this person with the drive, and you see them sitting in your conference room? The idea is, you want to portray specific signals so that we elevate the trust level before we have the first conversation. So that's what we're looking for, and we're going to unpack this and 10 signals moving forward.
So, what is your checklist? What are the signals that you should look for? Number one, have a clear position in the market. The market will not remember leaders who just share the news. People will remember other people that own a position, that have a say, that actually have an opinion on what's going on and where they think the world is going. So if you're just sharing news and trends, the market will just see you as regurgitating and repeating what they say, what's going on out there. But a strong signal is when you take and you own a position, a philosophy or a view. The market is able to repeat that view. So what we put here as a signal that can be strong, and the way to measure that, what question should you ask yourself is, can someone repeat the way you see the space or the industry you are in, or the space you own in a meeting in which you're not in? Can they describe what you believe in? That's signal number one.
Yeah. So what you're
You want
saying
to
here,
take on the second? Oh, sorry.
what you're seeing the screen, like, can you go back one? Is on the spectrum from 1 to 5. We're trying to push towards the 5. What does it mean to be 5? It means that you no longer are posting, like Alice saying, posting. We have a client in an AI investment platform, and the his point of view is what is happening 3 steps ahead, and people will go to that person because it has a strong position as to where or not to invest. It's not AI slop, or it's not a bubble. The person has an opinion, and that's why they follow. Others, this is fundraising. The others are in lead gen. If we're going to lead gen, how that might convene in a space where you're pushing towards the right side of the spectrum.
Perfect. Number 2, speak the buyer's language. It's very, very important that you connect with your buyer and with your buyer's pain point. If you are just screaming hacks, growth, or talking only about your product and what you solve for, it's it screams salesy, it screams pitching. In order to build a strong profile and a strong leadership profile, you need to sound like a leader that understands your client's pain points. So you want to talk about governance, scale, decisions, high level communications, right?
And even when we have Hispanics, so it's not the same to talk about Spanish speaking. They're not all the same. And if you speak in Colombia to the president of a company, or coming trying to scale a company, bring it to the U.S., you need to speak your buyer's persona's language. So you might be speaking to the CTO as opposed to the president. So understand who you're speaking with or to, and understand what language you should use. You should speak louder. It signals who you're really for. So that idea is important. So this number 2, that empathy, understanding who you're talking to.
Consistency. That's one of the biggest trust building activity or key KPI you should be measuring. Trust is built through rhythm, it's built through presence, and is built through predictability. And also, the reality is that if you're not in a consistent way present in your target's mind, they are going to forget you. To this, I'm not saying you should be spamming every day, or
Right.
as they say, it's like you should be, posting every day, 5 times a day. No, I'm not saying that. But having consistency in the rooms where you show up, not only in social media, not only in your marketing, but being a consistent part of your industry, that builds trust.
For me, I put it in a way where we need to be recent and frequent. and the top of mind of the buyer, of the investor. So that recency and frequency depends on the industry, depends on the stage, depends on very much. It could be 5 posts a day, it could be 1 post a month. I don't have that exact number. It depends on the industry, obviously. But the idea behind it is you need to be in a space when they're looking eventually for something similar that what you offer, what you have, that you're there and you're top of mind. So this is, you need to show up consistently. On the other side, you have algorithms in place where if you don't show up consistently, you might be lowering your chances of being showing up for the right buyer or the right investor. So be careful with this. We need to show up consistently, like frequently and recently.
Number 4, make your voice match the company's story. Um, if it's, when we talk about the content for a company is the same as the content for your leader. They all have to be aligned throughout all the channels. Everybody needs to hear the same message no matter where they hear it, right? So the market should hear your story across your LinkedIn, your website, your team, your sales goals. When you have two different people telling two different stories, there is a gap, and that gap creates a perception of risk. So make sure that whenever you are speaking as a leader, it's aligned with the company's messages. I'm not saying you need to repeat your company's sales pitch every single day, but your values and the way you present your value proposition is very important. So make sure that you have an integration and an alignment between the way your company speaks and the way you speak. Gabby, any comment? You
No,
good? Okay.
but for the next industry presence, so we need to be in the right place at the right time. So show up where your industries already is. Show up in the room, but not show up. It's like I'm here. No, it's just that you need to bring something to the table. You show up to the rooms. You have a point of view. All the above. We're number 5. So the idea is try to figure out where you're showing up and what is it that you're bringing to the table. And it's the one thing that you remember. We've been in many events, and once it's like it's overwhelming, earlier. So it's just all of a sudden you have all these people that you've met, all these the CRM that you're trying to build. Everything's like, you know what? Set it up so that you understand, the person, you met the person, you're in the room, you're present, but then again you follow up afterwards. So that idea is it's a game changer. You need to be in the right room. Again, in what part of the room? We've seen, as one of your comments, we've seen people that you're on the stage, but once maybe you're super far away from the person or the buyer, you need to be part of the audience. So you need to play that game super smart.
I always say that when we started the Miami Fintech Club, suddenly several fintechs that were in Miami, they showed up. And I was like, where have you been hiding? Right? So hiding is not acceptable anymore. You cannot go into your office and work every day without connecting with the world, because the growth comes from partnerships, from collaborations, from meeting your industry where it's at. So I think that's also very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
So credibility. All of the 1 to 5 that we just said build credibility, right? So focusing only on the performance of your socials, on your likes, your reach, your impressions, that creates what they call, everybody says, okay, I became viral. Yeah, you can become viral with a post, but I've seen many leaders create a viral post that then ends up in nothing. Why? Because that's not credibility. That's just virally, being viral, which is not the same thing. So the way that you show up, either in person, in real world, in real life, or online, has to be consistent in order to build the credibility. So whenever you create your strategy for your online content or your offline activities, they should be integrated, because that's what leads to credibility, and consistency also leads to credibility. People will buy from other people that they believe in. That's the key. So building, having in mind that you need to build credibility and not be viral, um, or be just famous. That's what's important.
Yeah, and the next one goes more into what's happening currently. There's everything is AI. Everything is it could be invented. So if a competitor could use your post and be there, so you're leading. You're just pushing ideas, not with the human side, not with real experiences. So if anybody could have written them, it's not you. You need to have your story, own your narrative. Why are you doing? And we do a lot of purpose-driven brands. The idea is that your why needs to be showcased, and that's unique to you. And once you go to spaces that we mentioned before, and be present, be there, but use your own examples and cases. We've seen women who lead. We've seen fintechs. We've seen companies coming from Latin America to the U.S. and they've everybody has a unique story. Tell that story. Try to focus on that story. Don't be generic.
Exactly. That's what's going to always differentiate us from AI. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Also, don't rely only on one leader. If you're the only public voice in your company, um, it's a weak. It doesn't build reliability. So you want to be able to name a second leader. You want to be able to have a strong C-suite that has, uh, a strong point of view, and that is, going back to your previous point, reliable, right, and credible. Um, so encourage others in your organization to also be visible and quotable, and to take a stand and take a position in the industry, because that it just multiplies your impact, and it's going to build that much more brand into your organization, and brand awareness into your organization. One of the We have a client that has a pair of co-founders. They both went out into different segments of the industry, and they're both building their visibility within the industry, and both multiplying the awareness for the company. It's just, that much better to do it that way. So you want to be able to, the question here is, could a buyer name another person in your organization beyond the founder or beyond the CEO? That's very important.
Absolutely. And the behind the scenes, or the people that you're showing up, mind you that we find a lot of CEOs and presidents of companies, founders, super low profile. And that's the example needs to be headed by the CEO, by the top, but then also have the rest of the team gearing or follow through as well. So that is very good. So having a clear point of view, that is really important. Teach the market something that's unique. What's happening? It's, if you're saying, oh, what's happening? It's AI and this, and AI is going to take your job, and yada, yada, yada. So you're going to give it an industry a new way to see itself and see what's happening. See things that we learned, for instance, in fintechs in Latin America, that they're not even close in the US to happening. And things that highlight what is unique to you. How can you bring it here? Or how can the US or the West Coast coming here to Hispanics? Things, what's your strong point and specific to you, and let it know. Like we said, what's not communicated is not known. So if you have something unique and you keep it to you, it's like it's a huge opportunity cost.
It used to be a thing that you could just, I have my secret sauce, right? And you would, keep it inside your organization. But nowadays, people will trust you if you're sharing your knowledge and being reliable in that way too. So you want to challenge the industry and share your knowledge. That's what's going to build your brand too. And in the long run, build a much better space for your organization. Last, of course, we want to turn your leadership and your thought leadership and your presence in the industry into commercial impact. This is something that some influencers find very hard to do, or some B2B influencers we've seen. So you can have a lot of visibility, but you have to have a way to convert them into conversations. So that way, of course, you're going to generate more business for your organization and more brand awareness for your organization. With this, it's gaining a balance between your contribution to industry in terms of content and knowledge and pitching your product, right? But you want to be able to provide insights, provide ideas, be a leader, and also support the industry and gain business, right? So you want to be balanced in what you do, but also see a way that that exposure generates business.
So graphically, in a way, if imagine your customer journey or the journey of it's from awareness. If it's generating interest. If it's generating interest, if it's generating conversion, generating conversion. If it's actually creating loyalty and people are recommending it. So depending on the stage you're at, turn this present into something that you can measure in a way that actually is not just nice to have. It has something concrete so you can tap into as well as go back to and see strategies that you're doing. How is that performing well or not? So Ale, this is a full list, a full 10 list. And the idea is, I don't know, having a kind of a self analysis point where the self audit that we need to be doing is like, how are we in these 10 stages that we have?
So we just got these, we created these self audits for you to do it. And it's an executive presence self audit that walks you through the 10 signals and helps you have honest questions. So you will score each one from 1 to 5. And then you have a profile that matches it and gets you basically what you need to work on. It's a tool for you to start working on your executive presence, basically. And we're going to send it to all of the participants, and feel free to share it and to share the results with us if you want to.
And if you find a gap and you want to find and you find a focused conversation, anything that clicked, it's like, oh, I'm really like in one in here, and you want to fix it, or you want to send other examples that we haven't shared, we can book directly a strategic diagnostic with us, and we can have certainly a conversation, like 45 minutes, no pitch. We really want to help you identify what it is, the one signal that you can move, or the one lever that you can move to make a difference.
Exactly. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you on our next work session. We hope it was useful, and we look forward to hearing your comments.